Are you guys ready for your...
No.
Yeah.
No.
What's
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Pop Culture. Today on the show we have
Ding ding! The star of the A1.
So don't forget to do the most important things, guys. Down below you have to subscribe
To the A1 as well.
please. Alright, so in today's episode we're going to play a game in the spirit of Pan-Africanism and speaking to the conversations we've been having for the month. We're going to be focusing on xenophobia, and I'm going to ask you guys a question, and some of you are going to argue for and others are going to argue against. Now, you've each picked a piece of paper that's going to determine whether you're arguing for or against.
And this is, what if I don't believe this? I mean, what if I don't believe in arguing for?
Well,
The paper
Well,
says.
the people don't come
Okay.
for us. We're doing what the paper says. If it says we are against, it doesn't mean we are against. We're just
Thank
doing
you
what
very
the
much for
you
that
know?
disclaimer.
so I'll ask you the question first, and then you can reveal whether you're for or against. And I'll give you 5 minutes to think of what you're going to say, and then you have to say your argument in 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Are you guys ready for your...
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so the question is, keeping the xenophobic violence as a context for your argument, do you think that South Africans are lazy and entitled? Okay, reveal your papers to see.
Okay, mine's against.
Boom. Mine says 4.
Mine's against.
In the context of-
when you're against, you're
What does that
saying
mean now?
they aren't lazy and
Yes.
entitled.
They're
And
not.
I'm saying
So-
they are.
Yes.
Oh, delicious.
Okay, I'm giving you
5
5
minutes.
minutes to think of what you want to say. You guys have had your time to think about what you want to say. Navisa, you're going to start us off.
Okay.
You are arguing against, and you are saying that South
Choking me
Africans
now.
are not lazy and entitled.
Her dress is choking.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Time starts now.
Now, so South Africans are not lazy and entitled because we've been through some stuff. We've been through some stuff. And so I think with looking at the resources available to us, looking at all that we've been through in the context of South Africa's history, I think that we are really just pushing and working as hard as we possibly can with what we have. I think, obviously, as the question said, in the context of xenophobia, I think that it's too much of a blanket statement to say that we're all, against having foreigners in the country. I think the bigger portion, I would like to hope and believe, Uguti, they are, in the midst of wanting to work with everybody.
Time up.
That was...
Timmy, you're arguing for?
I'm arguing for saying that they
are lazy
lazy
and
and
entitled.
Within the context of...
within the context of xenophobic attacks, yes.
Yes. Alright, and your time starts now.
Okay, cool. So I have like 4 points. South Africans have been conditioned to wait and receive help from the government, and that's not their fault, to kind of build on what Nomis is saying. But in the same sense, that means that we don't have the drive in ourselves to get up and do our own things and become entrepreneurs, which I think is the thing that's tripping up people that are fighting against, I don't want to use the word foreigners, but other African people that are coming into the country. So I think that's the biggest misconception. How are you going to steal a job that was never there? I created this opportunity for myself and you want to come and take it? No. These social grants are the things that are tripping people. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be there, but what happens is that every month I have to wait and I'm going to get something, so I don't need to do anything. That is ruining us. Who you should be mad at is this government. They're the ones that are letting you down and allowing for people to get away with murder, literally. King Zolitini, we see you, remember.
Time up.
Down! I feel like you got 2 points in.
Yeah, I did.
Moyin Moyin, are you ready? You are arguing against. You are saying South Africans
Are
not lazy.
After that, I don't know what's gonna work. I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm with you, girl.
Are you ready?
You're sisters.
Yeah, today we are sure.
Your time starts now.
Okay, so South Africans are not lazy, and it's funny. Mine kind of ties with Navisa in the sense that South Africa's gone through quite a few things, and I think it would take time for that culture to change. It would take time for every single person to have this new mindset in terms of work ethic or how to relate with one another, because the reality is South Africans were turned against each other first, so they need to sort that out, and they're just starting to, and things are going well, in between themselves, and slowly it will move on to the foreigners. So I think it's just going to take time. A new culture has to be developed, and anytime a new culture is developed, it starts from a place, but it has to grow and needs to spread. I think the big urban areas are getting it, but in the rural areas, it's going to take time to really infiltrate all those little, all those rural areas. So time.
So you guys were kind of forced to choose a side.
Which is tough.
Might not have been the side that you had wanted. Now I'm going to ask you the same question again, and you're going to tell me where you stand, what your thoughts are, and how you felt having to be on a side that you weren't kind of comfortable with. Okay, so the question again. With xenophobic violence as your context, do you think that South Africans are lazy and entitled?
Still yes.
Yeah, I think for me, I would have liked to argue for the lazy and entitled. We live with people from all parts of the world, and so in instances where let's say Ethiopian is coming to the country looking for opportunity, it's because they know, they've been told back home that the opportunity is in South Africa. They moved to South Africa and they're making minimum wage that they get to send home and make a difference. They work, you know what I'm saying? So they're making the most of a sticky situation. I used to live in Joburg. I'm from Joburg, and I would see, the people, because like I grew up in Yeoville, I grew up in Windsor East, Randburg was my areas, and there's a lot of people from other parts of Africa that live in those spaces. And salons are owned by Ghanaians. Salons are owned or a vegetable shop or a vegetable stand, and more times than not, whenever I would conversate with one of them, it's always they need to do this because their livelihood and their families back home need this money. And so then you'll speak to South African, and their point of call has never really been, not never. I made it seem like, but it's in time. Sometimes it doesn't come down to I really need this situation where I need these coins and I needed to stand for something, and it's always like, well, why do these people come here? It's an attack. It's like, why do they need to come here and take our thing? Were you thinking about doing that thing? And if you were, how about speaking to the person who's now started? How can you work together to make this thing a bigger thing?
Okay, so I am originally from Nigeria.
Sister.
Yes. I may not sound like it, but so yeah, no, without a doubt, I would have preferred to be for. In other words, South Africans are lazy and entitled. And don't come kill me, but I feel like Nigerians are the most hardworking people in Africa. That's my personal opinion. We're very hardworking. Unfortunately, it might not be for the best things. I eat drugs, but we're very hardworking people, and I think what a lot of people don't understand is that for a foreigner like myself to work here, oftentimes you have to prove that there isn't a South African who can do that job. So when I was qualifying or trying to apply for my permit, I had to. Yeah, so I had to, the company that I wanted to work for, they had to put an ad in the newspaper, they had to show that, they had to show all the applicants, they had to then prove that I was the best applicant out of everybody who applied, and then that's why they took me. And still, it's at the discretion of the country, of the government, whether or not I work. And then, so that's more in the urban areas. Now in the rural areas, it's still easier for somebody who wants to open up a hair salon to do it with a South African. the option to do it by ourselves is the harder option. So for somebody to do that means that they probably couldn't find somebody who had the same work ethic, because we work incredibly hard. Like you said, we gotta send money back home because things are rough, might be rough that side, we don't know, whatever, but we have to work really, really hard to do so. So I think a lot of people don't really understand the logistics behind it, and that we would prefer to work with South Africans if y'all would accept us. And any great country, look at the most powerful countries in the world. You've got China, right? You've got the Korean, Asian countries, you've got the US of A. Those guys are built on having a ton of foreigners. Now if you go to Asia, it might not look like it, but think about it, everything great is made in China. A lot of people, iPhone, Samsung, they go make it done there. So in other words, in Asia, they've made it a way that you can come in, bring your skills, bring your talent. We will probably copy it, but that's it. That's the terms and conditions. But every great country allows that skill to come in.
That's the thing. I think I like what you're saying, because you're saying it's less to do with your color, your skins, your this, the skill. Do you have the ability to do this particular thing and to do it better or worse? And that's, I think.
But then I think, isn't that also just another kind of capping someone? If now it's not inclusive anymore.
Sure.
If I'm coming from far and all I have is just I need to be safe, then how? I don't have a skill now that's allowing me to be in the country.
True.
As South Africans, I think we need to speak to each other and be very, very honest. The job thing, it's wearing very thin, that excuse for about jobs. If you're not creating your own, going into creating your own avenue, and I understand, now I'm unemployed and the qualification out too. I'm working on the third, so I get the angst of I am unemployed. And Zuma said he was going to provide jobs, millions of them. When are you holding him accountable? Yeah. That is a question that we should be having, not killing people on the basis of them putting their lives on the line and then trying to make a livelihood for themselves. You know what you have to do? Share, like, comment, subscribe, and watch.
You're closing your eyes.